Welcome to another episode of Lucas Live. We have a very special guest tonight. We're so excited about our guest tonight. Miss Keena Ferguson, ladies and gentlemen. You've seen her on Tyler Perry's Sistas. She was on Atlanta. She was on S.W.A.T next to that smooth brother, Shemar Moore. I think you guys might know who he is. The ladies definitely do. I believe he was on The Young and the Restless. And some ladies still watch the brother and they acting like they're young and restless. So I'm so excited tonight. Keena is just such a phenomenal woman. When I think of that term, and I know there's a great organization and they reward phenomenal women here in Ohio, and I think of Keena. She is just absolutely a phenomenal woman. I can't even keep up with everything that she's doing, and every time I look into more, and I've been studying her background and I've been talking to her, and I'm like, how have you accomplished so much? When is there time for all of it? So I'm so excited to have her here today. She was so gracious and so kind as to give us her time this evening on Lucas Live. She is live from LA, so she's a few hours behind us, but she's gonna be ready to roll here in just a minute. I want to welcome people as they come into the room. We got a little music playing here tonight to get the show started. Welcome to the show. Thank you. I see you guys. My beautiful wife, Corinne Marie Tyndale. Thank you so much for introducing me to Keena. See, my wife got connections. She knows people. And when she knows people, I say, babe, you know Keena. You think she would come on the show? And my wife said, ain't nobody got time for your show. But no, she said, maybe. Reach out. Feel free. I'm like, would it be a problem? Would it be cool if I reach out to her? I don't want it to be awkward. Used to work with her on some stuff. She was like, go for it. She's super cool. I reached out to her. She didn't blink. She didn't say, let me think about it. She didn't say, let me tell my people, call your people, have some people, call some people. She said, let me know when. Let's talk about it. Let's make it happen. So I'm so excited to have her on the show today. To everybody who's joining right now, make sure you share this broadcast. Wherever you're coming to us from, make sure you share this broadcast so that other people can see it playing live on your page. We talk to you guys here at Lucas Live about being creators and curators, right? You create content. I know many of you are content creators. You making posts, you making memes, you making jokes, you're making videos, you're posting creative stuff, right? But we also can curate, as in there's a great show on like Lucas Live, and I want to put that show on my page, on my channel. You guys all have your own media company. So post it to your page. That's your social media channel or your multiple social media channels. We're on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Periscope right now live. Wherever you're coming to us from, please share this broadcast so others can see you're not only your creation, but your curation. I see you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. Sharice, I see you, one of our loyal viewers, Miss Sharice Grantham. Shout out to Sharice. Thank you for your love, your support. Sharice also sent me some face wash. I hope I'm looking good. She's a Mary Kay representative. If you need some Mary Kay, shout out to my girl, Sharice Grantham. She can get you right. She can get your guy right even. It's not just ladies products. She has things for the men as well. So we're excited about that. Miss Susie Lance, one of our former guests. Thank you so much for being here. I tagged you on LinkedIn. You saw that. I was like, you got to check this out, Susie. So glad you're here. To Susie and Jason Lance, so glad that you are here. Shout out to her and her husband and all the work they're doing in ministry. Thank you so much. Miss Ashanti West, thank you for being here. So glad you are with us today. Natalie Lewis, one of our guests as well. Thank you. Glad to have you back. Jasha, glad to have you. Tamika, Miss Erica Burr, my wonderful friend. Hey, we're doing it big here, Erica. I mean, I'm sure you seem like the kind of person who probably caught an episode or two of Tyler Perry's Sistas, right? So, or Atlanta, or some of these other shows. I have a wonderful guest who had a recurring role on the show. She's going to tell us tonight what it was like to work with Tyler Perry. You better call your mom and your sister and your brother and your friends and say, we about to find out what it was like to work with Tyler Perry on Lucas's show. Lucas Live, he got somebody who was working with Tyler Perry every day. She said Tyler Perry is on set, on scene, doing this thing, like producing, directing, controlling, making it happen. I'm like, you work with Tyler Perry every day like that? And she said she did. You want to hear the story, don't you? You want to find out, right? We all a little nosy. This show is allowing you to be a little nosy. You can lean in a little bit, hear a little something, learn a little something, get educated, motivated, and liberated. Okay, somebody's going to learn something today that's going to help them grow their career. Whatever it is, maybe it's acting or writing or producing or creating something. I believe God has put something in all of us to create something, right? To give birth to something, right? There's something underneath the surface. I always say, in my opinion, I've always found women to be better at understanding the movement underneath the surface. They understand what it's like to give birth. Even those that have not given birth seem to innately understand what it's like to have movement underneath the surface, something growing inside of you that they have to give birth to. And there's many men out there doing it as well. You guys know I birthed this show after the loss of my dear mother, Miss Vivian Tyndale. And today I'm here wearing pink in representation of breast cancer awareness. I'm going to be working with the Men Wear Pink through the foundation. And they've reached out to me and I've reached out to them, and we're talking about it, how I can support that initiative, because I'm so serious about helping others to avoid the pain that I've gone through after losing my mother to breast cancer. So we're here today, always in honor of Miss Vivian Rosetta Tyndale. So glad to have you. Everybody's a little nosy, right? Susie, Ebony Akron, my wonderful friend, thank you so much. I see those people, everybody who's saying they shared the broadcast. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. We're really excited about our guest tonight. And I don't want to delay it. I mean, I've gotten to talk to her several times, and every time I talk to her, I'm like, wow. And let me tell you guys this. This is a true story. Y'all a little nosy, right? So y'all want to hear this, okay? And this is going to be recorded for all times, and somebody's going to hear this as a podcast, and some of y'all are going to watch this video back on YouTube a year from now, you know, when my YouTube channel has 1 million viewers, and then YouTube starts showing it to everybody, right? So I got to tell you guys a little secret before we kick the show off. I was nervous before the show. Now once I hit go live, I'm a different person. So I hit go live and I'm this guy that you guys know. But before the show, sometimes I'm scrambling around doing different things or whatever. But I was actually a little nervous. Like, this is a big guest. This is somebody who I've been talking to you guys about. I've been saying Tyler Perry Sistas, because Tyler Perry Studios and everything going on that we know about Tyler Perry. So it's made me share that part of her story a little bit more, because I think it's easy for people to get. And I've been saying that for months, probably. Like, we got somebody coming on from Tyler Perry Sistas. I promise eventually it's going to happen. And then today is the day, and I was like, I was a little nervous. I ain't gonna lie. I was just a little bit nervous, but I was made for this, so I'm ready to roll. So once I hit go live and y'all start coming in, I get excited, and here we are. I see all the people sharing, and the people who shared, if you came to this because somebody shared, it's your turn to share. Share the broadcast so other people can see it. Don't share it as a watch party on Facebook. Share it as a post. If you share it as a watch party, you suck everybody into their own little private room, and then they just sit in there and talk to each other, and I can't see all these wonderful posts, right? See, right now, I can pull your wonderful posts up on the screen, and we can engage, and that's what we want to do, you know? And you may want to meet this wonderful guest today, so participate, be a part of it. I want to introduce her to you all, my loyal, wonderful audience, and she wants to meet you guys, and I know you guys want to meet her. Miss Ishari, welcome to the show. Tina, thank you so much for being here. I see you guys. I love it when you comment. I don't know if you're here unless you comment. So if you just peeking in, just peek in, but stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. It's okay. If you don't say anything, I won't even know you're here. So you don't even gotta, you peeking through your blinds. I see you. I can't see you, but I see you. I feel you, because sometimes stuff be going on and I be peeking through the blinds. I was raised in the hood, and sometimes stuff be going on and you peek through the blinds. I get it. Some of y'all just kind of peeking in a little bit. You don't know if you really gonna stay for the whole show. That's okay. That's okay. But if you can comment, even if you can't stay the whole time, you got a comment, you got a question, you got something, let's get in these comments. Let's talk, let's engage, let's participate. Christina Sanders, my wonderful cousin, thank you so much for being here. Glad to have you guys. So without further delay, Miss Amber Hairdo, how are you? So glad to have you here today. Love your wonderful paintings. I think we need to auction off some paintings on the show or something. Did I say that before? I don't know, but Amber, we're going to do something with that. I love what you're doing. So glad to have you guys. All right. I said we're not going to delay, right? So I'd like to welcome to the show. As I said, she's a very accomplished producer, actress, voiceover actress, which is going to be a fascinating story. You may not even realize that there's opportunities to be a voiceover actor or actress in video games and other areas. She's going to share with us about that today. She's a wife. She's a mother. She's somebody who really wants to give back, and I can see that. And she's going to talk to us today also about opportunities. You may hear her story and think, I want to know her a little more. I want to work with her. I want to invest in myself by purchasing her services. I hope at the end of the show today that somebody watching, or several somebodies watching, are going to reach out and say, I'm willing to invest in myself. I want to get into your classes. I want to work with you. And you're going to produce something great because you did that. My wife did it, and my wife is working on amazing things. You guys know that. And I believe there's somebody on here who wants to do the same thing. Without any further delay, let's welcome to the show, Miss Keena Ferguson. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hey, I am excited. And did you hear me say I was a little nervous? You may not have known. I was trying to be cool.
Let's act like I didn't hear it.
You didn't know. It was nothing. mean, so what? So what? I get a little nervous. So I don't normally, people know me, I don't normally get nervous, but I was nervous. It's showtime now, right? So when it's showtime,
Right.
you just go for it.
You gotta go. No matter what. Well, hey, I get nervous before I perform. When I get on that stage, it's time to roll and do the darn thing.
No matter what's happening, it is. So Keena, if you could start by telling us a little bit about your background. I believe you grew up in the Show Me State. Show Me 7, I'll show you. Okay, that was a song. Okay, anyway, tell us a little bit. You went to the Ohio State University. Can you just give everybody a little bit of a background about you, who little Keena was as a kid, and then kind of we'll walk through your journey a little bit.
Yeah, so I am from the Show Me State. So you always got to represent when you're from the Show Me State, right?
Yes.
We don't talk about it. We just show up and do our thing.
Okay.
I'm from a town called Jefferson City, Missouri, which is actually the capital of Missouri. So,
Interesting.
Yeah, so I grew up there, and I grew up really kind of being able to, my parents were amazing in that they kind of let me try a little bit of everything so I could see all the things that I would like or maybe not like. And so my mom is actually a dancer and has been a professional dancer for years, still runs a company. So I was in dance at 2, so I started dancing right away. Started doing musical theater, all those things that we do, play piano, all those things, right? And then I knew I wanted to be a dance major in college. And I knew I wanted to have the college experience. I didn't want to like move straight to LA and start my career because I wanted to have that college experience. That was something that was personal to me. Mm-hmm. So I went to the Ohio State University, was a dance major there, and had the best time of my life.
Yeah, and go Buckeyes.
Buckeyes, and I am still a diehard Buckeye fan. And then literally I graduated on a Saturday, and on Wednesday I moved to Los Angeles, California to begin my career. So I was like, let's go. I graduated. There's no reason to wait. There's no need to do anything else. It's just get on the plane and get off and get in LA and start doing what you do.
Wow. So many people, we want things, right? We want to make things happen. We want to see our dreams come true, but we're hesitant to like pull the trigger. So help us understand how you made that decision, and then help us understand why we need to make those types of decisions in our life.
Yeah, so I've always been a person that's just like, I want to do something, I'm going to jump in, I'm going to do it. And I figured out along the way, right? I've always been like, I can figure this out along the way. And so I remember I graduated on that Saturday. And for me, I started planning it out beforehand. So the summer before I graduated, I went to UCLA and did a quarter at UCLA in the summer studying acting, just so I could acclimate myself to LA. I'd never been here, and I just wanted to kind of test the waters. And then, like I said, the next year when I graduated, it was just, for me, it was, what am I waiting for? Because there is never a perfect time, right? People like to say, like, I'm going to wait until, well, then when I get, right? And I'm not saying you don't plan, but what I'm saying is nothing's ever perfect. There's always going to be something that's going to come in your way. So if you just decide to do and to jump, we all know if you decide to jump, you will be caught, right?
Yes.
So that was for me. So I graduated that Saturday, and I was like, okay. And I remember I was like, all right, Dad, I need to get a plane ticket because I'm going to leave on Wednesday. And he was like, wait, I thought you were going to, you don't want to work? You don't want to like stay for the summer? No, I just want to go to LA. Wow. He was like, okay. And I did. I showed up. I got a 1-bedroom apartment. I had absolutely zero furniture, which horror to find out they were like, no. Like, and I was like, it's okay. It's all right.
Right.
Like, I'm here. I'm good. Of course they were like, no, we're going to help out. You cannot just have no furniture. But, and then I literally was here, and I was just like, all right, where do I begin? And, that's hard because there isn't, being an artist and actor, there's no one way, right? There's no like, all right, so I'm gonna go here, and then I'm gonna go here, and then I go here, and then I get the job. Great. It's just like everybody you talk to. So one of the things that I did, and I like to tell people this, is, especially when you're young, you got all that, vivaciousness, and you're like, let's go, let's do it. So I just started calling up people from college, and I was like, who do you know that lives in LA?
Wow.
And people would go, my cousin's friend lived out there. Great, give me your number, I'll call her. And so I literally got a list of people from friends some people were like, I don't know them that well. They were like, my cousin's friend. That's okay, I'll call them, we'll see. All they can say is no. They don't, I don't know them.
Right. So
my feelings really be hurt if they say no.
I love it.
I didn't know you before. I'm not, there's no shade, you know? So I called up people, and literally I felt like that's how my kind of life started, because I called up one girl, and she was a dancer. I'm also a dancer, obviously. And so she was like, yeah, there's some auditions that happened. Great. I called up another girl, and she was like, well, you can come hang out with me and my friends. We're going to a party. Great. And then you go to a party, meet more people. And then it just kind of, that's how I started. Honestly, I literally just started. And my first show was with Ricky Smiley. It was called The Way We Do It. I was his co-host. And I crashed that audition. One of the girls I met told me about an audition at BET. I went up there. My name wasn't on the list because I didn't have an agent, but I auditioned. Wow. And then I didn't know better at the time. So one of the producers had like kind of befriended me along the way. And so literally I would call him like 2 days later, like, did y'all make a decision yet? Would y'all decide who y'all gonna go with? Which I would never do now. Like, that is, you just would never do that. But I didn't know any better. So I was just like, did y'all decide? Well, you should tell them I'm really good. Like, at any rate, I booked the job, and that was my first show. And then from there, things just, I did a season of that show with Ricky, and I'm a Delta, and so he's an Omega, so it fit right there. But yeah, it was how it started.
That's amazing. So my wife asked, how long did it take before you booked your first gig? Because, okay, you graduate one day, Saturday, and by Wednesday you're flying out to LA. You're not homeless, but you don't have no furniture. So you got your 1-bedroom floor and, wall-to-wall floor and floor-to-floor ceilings or something, right? You got something. You got a shell of something. And now you're there and you're trying to work it out. And you start making these moves. So how long was it before that Ricky Smiley audition that led to something?
So what's going to be funny is that it's going to sound super quick, but then there's the backside of that story, right?
Okay.
So I was very blessed when I got here. I had a friend. This is why, it always pays to be nice to people. I had a friend who was like, I'm moving from LA, but I'm going to leave my car if you want to have my car until you get a car. And I was like, perfect. So I had a car.
Wow.
And then I had met a friend, so I would stay there with them sometimes at night so that I wouldn't just be alone in the city. Mm-hmm. And then I moved in June. I think by like August or September, I had booked the job. Now that sounds like, and again, for me, I was like, made it, did it.
Done.
Yes.
Let's go.
I knew.
Check it off the list.
Right. And then fast forward a couple years later, there's a big drought where you're like, oh, I'm not working at all. Like, I'm trying to get that agent to get me in that door because I didn't know. Like, the things that I didn't know when I booked the show were, get an agent because you're on a TV show, Keena.
Okay. Get
an agent to get you more opportunities.
Educate us. Tell us about it. So somebody else out there watching this is like, they're leaning in. They're like trying to take little pieces. So help us out. Structure this journey for us in a, I'm coming to you. You're coaching me. I'm like, Keena, I'm trying to do this thing. I want to be like you. I'm sure people say, oh, girl, I want to be like you. I'm trying to be with Tyler Perry and whatnot. How do I get to the Tyler Perry? How do I do it? What are some practical steps? If we're going to educate, motivate, liberate, we're going to set them free to go do it, to go fly. Let's educate them. What's some of the first steps that you would suggest to somebody who's aspiring to be an actor?
Well, the very, very first step I always suggest is you got to know your craft. Right? So you got to be good at what you do, and you got to be practicing, and you got to be honing in that skills. Because what will happen if you don't hone your craft is you will get an opportunity and you fail at it because you're not right. So you need to know your skill and your craft, right? So that's first. Then there is no right way. Like that was what hard for me. It's still hard for me today is that there is no one way to make it, right? For me, I crashed the audition and I got it. Now, the things that are practical are you do need an agent or a manager to help negotiate contracts so you can be getting your fair wages, be making sure that you're going for the next opportunities and making sure that you're being aware of like where the rest of your career is, right? Because when I got out that show, I didn't know what to do next. I was still in the same place. The only difference was I had been on a show, but I had not used that for publicity. I hadn't used it to get my team. I hadn't used it to get any more auditions. So I kind of had to work backwards. Then I was going to people like, I was just on this show. I need an agent. But also things have changed now, right? Yeah. There's a lot of things that you may not need an agent. You could just have a manager. Or, people are influencers now and they're getting opportunities. That wasn't around then.
Okay.
That was me. So, so for me, that was one of the things that I learned, like, when I look back and think about what I was getting paid. For me at the time, I was like, this is great. I look back now, I'm like, oh, they were Girl don't know.
They was ripping me at info, child. She don't know. Give her a couple
We
dollars. She just got furniture.
I just signed a contract. I was like, what you paying? What? Okay, got it. Signed.
Right.
So thought about it all. Like, right. I'm like, that was crazy, Keena. Yeah. You know, and then from there, because I was a dancer, then it was like, you know, I started getting into, I did some music videos, and then, you know, my first video, I think, was a Jay-Z video. I think my first video was Girls, Girls, Girls.
No, hold on. Whoa. Now, Keena, I don't like to cut people off. But sometimes I have to slow people down for the greater good of the audience. You don't just randomly show up in a Jay-Z video and put it in the footnotes. Although I've read through your website and it was kind of down there in the about section a little bit. You kind of was like, yeah, Jay-Z, you know, Snoop Dogg, some other people I might have worked with. So you were in a Jay-Z video. You're a dancer, right? You've been dancing since you were 2. Is that right?
I have.
Been dancing since you were really young, and to somebody, that alone is the dream come true. Like, you've already done something Ricky's mind. Like, you have several people's dreams have come true in you already, and you can't just be rattling this stuff off like without slowing down and letting us take it in. We got to breathe here a little bit. So, what's that like?
So, I guess what I should say about that is, and this is what I always say that I'm striving to get back to, is when you're younger, you have no fear. You don't know what the rules are. You don't know what the parameters are. So you make them up, right?
Right.
As you get to know more, you become more restrained and confined because people tell you, you don't call a producer. Mm-hmm. Wait, you don't just show up. You don't. So then you'd be like, oh. And so what happened for me was I felt, I'll get back to that story, but for your audience, what happened for me was, as people started telling me, like, what do you mean you call, you don't call the producers. Wait, no, when you go in the room, you only do this. No. Don't shake their hand unless they put their hand. There's all these rules that people were giving you. You know, I was like, I'm going to go to William Morris and get an agent. And people were like, you don't just walk to William Morris, Keena. You have no credits. And I was like, yeah, but they haven't met me. So they don't know they're going to love me because they haven't met me. And people were like, you know, but people like, that's not how it works.
Right.
But the beauty of that is that you are so confident and you are ready to take on the world that other people will feed into that passion with you because they love how passionate you are. Right. So I'm always like, if I can get back to that, Keena, I'll be in people's rooms all the time and not caring at all, because I'm going to come with the skill. I'm going to come with the know-how. It's really just sometimes the access. Right. So for the video, it was, I don't remember who, but I think I had done a fashion show and somebody was like, oh, they need, now at the time I showed up as like to do like background on the music video. Now I didn't know anything about background on the music. I knew nothing about that except for that I got there and there were a lot of girls and I was like, oh wait, so I'm going to be with a bunch of girls, like kind of in the, so I was like, I'm going to just separate myself. So I went outside and stood outside. And then in this video was Girls, Girls, Girls with Jay-Z and what's the DJ, the heavyset DJ? Oh, why can't I think of his name?
Somebody, y'all know. Y'all act like y'all don't know in the comments. I'm gonna act like I don't know, but y'all don't act like y'all don't know. No.
It was Jay-Z and whatever his name was. But at any rate, I was standing outside and I was just posted up. I had on my little cute outfit and I was just posted up, and these 3 guys walked by and they were like, oh, excuse me. And I was like, they were like, what's your name? I was like, Keena, what's yours? And they were like, whatever. And they were like, we actually wanted to know if we could basically upgrade you to be one of the girls in the video. There's a couple spots. And I was just like, okay.
I'll take an upgrade. Sure.
I play it cool. I mean, okay, it's fine. You know. And so that's how I ended up in the video. And then from there, you know, like, because I had parts where it was me and Jay-Z and me and Tamala Jones who was in it, you know. So then from there, I got upgraded. And I didn't know. But now, next thing I know, I'm in this video and people are seeing me everywhere. And then from there, I started doing other videos. That's how I did the Snoop Dogg video. And I did Elephant Man Twista video. I did, I can't remember. But at any rate, yeah. So that's how I started doing videos.
Amazing. As you were doing these things, were you feeling like I made it? Or were you always still like, I need more? How was it feeling? And we'll talk about now. But let's rewind back to then. What was the feeling like in those moments? Again, to so many of us on the outside looking in, it's like you made it, right? You made it, and now what you've successfully accomplished is now leading to other things. That's when you really made it, right? Because it's now the fire is starting to catch. So you're like, I'm out here, I'm good. Your parents, you like, hey, you don't really have to I'm making some money now. I'm doing some things now. How were you feeling in those moments? What was it like for you?
It's interesting. Like, I'm having a lot of thoughts as you're saying that, because I think in the moment, and this is gonna sound like something you probably shouldn't say, but hopefully it'll help somebody. In the moment, I was feeling like, yes, this is exactly what I should be doing.
I like it.
I'm talented. I'm putting in work.
Yep.
I'm confident to know that I can do this job. I don't feel scared. And I'm praying about it. I'm visualizing about it. I believe that if I think it, I can do it.
Yes.
So, yes, of course it makes sense that I'm going to do it. That's how I was feeling, right? Which kind of, where people don't want you to spread your light that bright, but that's kind of how I was feeling, right?
Yeah.
I was feeling like that. On the other side of that feeling, though, was I had other friends that I had met along the way that were doing huge things. My old roommate at the time was dancing for Aaliyah, and she was actually over there on the Rock the Boat video.
Wow.
She on that plane that time. So that was my roommate. So she was doing huge things. So as much as it was like, this is good, there's a moment where, like, then you come home and she's like, oh yeah, so I'm about to go on tour with Aaliyah again for 3 months. So I'll see you later. And then you're like, I'm not doing anything.
Wow.
Right? So there's a little bit of like, yes, if you put in the work and if you believe you can do it, and if you pray to God and He'll give you the desires of your heart, it'll happen.
Yeah.
Then there's also the looking at everybody else, which you shouldn't really do, but that kind of will remind you, I'm so not as far as I thought I was at all. I just did one video and she's on tour for 3 months.
Interesting. You're setting somebody free. That's liberation, because somebody right now is dealing with that. And sometimes we get so down on ourselves for human moments, right? We're like, and then everybody around us is like, you should be happy about everything. And it's like, yeah, I know. And I am, but I still have this longing, right?
Yeah. And I mean, that's my struggle all the time.
Yeah.
That's my number one struggle that I pray about to God all the time is and a good friend of mine was like, you gotta only look in your lane. Once you start looking over here, you slow down. You know what I mean? And so it's really, and that was the thing, is that then I would start comparing, and then the bigger that they got, or other people I was around, as opposed to looking at those people around me going, if they rising like that, I'm about to rise up because this is my flock.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But instead, I was more, I'm in the moment of the job and you're doing great. But also you got to remember there wasn't social media then, right? Because this,
early
so
2000s.
You didn't have this barometer of people to tell you and to validate you.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Now everything's on social media. So when you didn't have that, you could just kind of go do the work, feel how you felt, and the only thing you had to compare yourself to were the people around you.
Saw.
The rest of the world.
That is deep, because now where people are struggling, right? Looking around at what other people are doing, and it gets us out of our lane. And I always remember, my son is in driving school right now, and one of the things I teach him is one of the things I remembered most from driving school, because I took it into my life, was they said, where you look is where you go. If you look at an accident, your car is going to start veering toward it, because that's just our natural tendency. Where you look is where you go. And sometimes we get off track, and we need to go, the fastest point from one point to the next is a straight line. And I'm doing this because I'm looking over here and looking over here. And with social media now, we spend our whole day looking all over the place, right?
And then people get in a dump about that. You know what I mean? So I'm grateful that I had those experiences before that, because the only people I had to compare myself to were the people around me, right?
Yeah.
And because I was younger, had I known better, I would have flipped that and gone, ooh, they doing all that, and I'm in this circle?
Right.
Huh, I'm next.
God is on my street. Like, clearly. Right?
Exactly.
Right.
And I will say, I feel like that hindered me, because you get caught up in that. But yeah, so I did the videos, and it is interesting, because at that time, people watched videos were,
Everything.
Still really hot.
Yeah.
Right? So I would be out, like I used to live in New York in the summers. So I remember getting off the plane in New York. I remember getting off the plane in Vegas, and someone being like, you the girl from the whatchamacallit video, or you the girl from the, and I was like, well, that's not really what I want to do. So I'm going to stop doing videos now. Like, I don't want to be the girl. Again, no shame. Was like, I came to be an actor, like, so it was great to do and so fun. But it was also, I think everything is in stages. Everything is, you're doing it now, and then you're ready to move to your next stage.
Yep.
So it's like, I did it. I had fun. It was great. And then it was like, let's move to the next stage. The only thing I still want to do is an R&B video, because I never did one. So that's still on my list.
That's still on the bucket list. Okay, I love it. I love it. So when you get there, you got to let us know. Okay, you got to tell us, hey, it's coming, because videos still exist. There's no, the video shows that we watched on channels every day, but they're on YouTube. They're everywhere. So that would be amazing. So let's talk a little bit about your acting career. So you started off. You did the Ricky Smiley. You co-hosted the deal with Ricky Smiley. You got into some videos. Now, how did you start getting traction on acting? And we're going to work our way toward, some of the more recent things and kind of talk about that, because I promised the people we want to know what Mr. Tyler Perry is like and what it's like to work with Mr. Tyler Perry, because I know that you worked with Mr. Tyler Perry day after day for several weeks and you actually got to experience what that was like. But help us understand, okay, so now getting into what you really wanted to get into. It's hard to turn to Titanic. It's hard not to get cast into, she's a dance girl. She's a video. That's what she does, videos. That's what she does. You're like, well, no, I'm super talented. And they're like, yeah, everybody says that, right? Every girl out here says she's an actress, but she dances, and that's great, and stay in your lane, sweetie. How did you break through that as a female, as a black female in LA? How in the world did you make that happen?
Yeah, gosh, you got me thinking about my journey here, which is so interesting because I don't often think about the beginning this way.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like, okay, I was doing some print modeling. I was doing the videos. I came off the show. And so I was getting some headshots done, and I was getting them printed. And there was literally the print shop guy there was this older dude. And he was like, who you should meet is Daniel Hoff. He's a big commercial agent. You should get a commercial agent. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, go there. Tell him I sent you. Right. And again, you're young. I literally walked up there, put his name down because you could only get in if you were referred. I auditioned and I got signed by this agent. Daniel Hoff and he's still a huge commercial agent. From that signing, I booked a national Coca-Cola commercial with Common and Maya. And that is how, for me, booking that was what told me you can do this, because I was getting a job at a comedy club to be a waitress, to serve drinks, a cocktail waitress. 2 weeks after about 2 weeks to a month after getting that job, I booked the Coca-Cola commercial. And booking national commercials pay really, really, really
good to know. Good to know.
Yes. Really well. And when I booked that, for me, that was my confirmation. I needed to say, you just got to stay the course. It may get hard, but you got to stay the course.
Yeah.
So at any rate, I kind of went off on that tangent, but I wanted.
It's great.
Because of the fact of you never know who you're meeting, right? This is just the guy that was the owner of the print shop where I printed my headshots. And just because I went in and was like, hi, how are you? Oh yeah, I've only been here a year and I'm and just talking. And he was like, well, you should. And then I actually took him up on it, right? Because I feel like what people do is they get business cards and they talk to people, but they don't follow up.
Yeah.
And if you don't follow up and you don't follow through, you don't know what was on the other side of that, right? And I tell people all the time, you better dust off those business cards. You reach out and see who they know. How can they help? How can they be of benefit to you? And so I just want to put that out there, because I got my big commercial agent, which then got me, after I did some commercials, those commercials got me an agent to start auditioning for TV and film. And that's how I started auditioning for TV and film. And I think my first TV booking was this Lifetime show, but my second TV booking was Mad TV.
Wow, super cool. Mad TV. I love Mad TV.
I was playing Kelly Rowland.
Wow, how cool. Mad TV. Amazing. I mean, and that Mad TV was sketch comedy, right? Like that's not easy either, right? Like everybody ain't cut out for that. So you were able to take your skills, translate it into something so dynamic on TV, get that role. You go into some other roles. Now there's some other shows we know. S.W.A.T. Somebody has asked. Now let me call out this comment. Chanel has asked. She's a friend of the show, wonderful friend here. Chanel said, I need her to tell me if Shemar Moore smells as delicious as she imagines. She said I imagine, but I don't want to sound like I was imagining Shemar Moore smelling. I don't know what she's talking about. So you worked with Mr. Shemar Moore, is that right?
Yes. He smells just fine. Yes, he does.
She's married, y'all, so she's trying to play it nice. She like, yes, the brother
Just
smells
fine.
okay.
Yes, he smells just fine. He doesn't have any odors that are unwelcoming.
Yes, okay, very politically correct, very
But he's
good.
also the nicest and the kindest. We were shooting on set, and
Mm.
people were going. We were shooting in the hood because the first season they really shot on location a lot.
Mm.
We were shooting in the hood. People were literally going home, getting their grandmothers and bringing them back to set, and then waiting till somebody said cut, and then they'd be like, "Can we?" And Shemar Moore would come out there and hug their grandmother and take a picture, no problem at all. He was so nice to everybody. He is as cut as everybody thinks he is. He is as
He really
cut.
looks like that?
Looks the exact same as he does.
What?
Yes, he does.
We all of us fellas was like, nah, that's some special
I know.
effects. Oh, this is real. Okay, that's cool. He be at the gym. Mm-hmm.
It really is. I feel like working with him, I probably got more people ever in my entire career who asked me about working with Shemar more than anybody else I've ever worked with.
Interesting.
I had more people ask me, how was it to be next? And him and I took a picture where like he was like he was kissing my cheek, and then he was like, let's take another picture. And he was like holding me real tight, and he was like, let's do another one. And so I posted them, and people were like, I've never had so many women be like, just tell me what.
I saw them. They're available online, ladies and gentlemen. You guys can check these pictures out. Yes.
It's amazing to me. I was like, this dude, I mean, women love him, but he was very kind and gracious. And again, this theme is coming up for me right now, is like, what you put out will come back around.
Yes.
I have a one-woman show that I did, and in the one-woman show, I talk about this story that actually happened in my first couple years in LA, where I met Shemar Moore, and he was like kind of flirting with me, and we were talking, and then, you know, and we left, we parted ways. So I talk about this story in my one-woman show. When I got to set for S.W.A.T, which is years later, I tell him this story, and he's like, I said, I met you before years ago when I first moved to LA at this club. He was like, I tried to hit on you, didn't I? I was like, you did. And he was like, I believe it. He was like, that sounds like exactly what I would have done to you. I was like, and I said, you're actually in my one-woman show. That story is. And he was like, wow, I'm trying to do a one-man show. Could I talk to you about getting some tips on how I could craft that show? And so him and I got connected because he was like, I'd love for you to help me craft that show, or just tell me how you did it. Tell me some tips, because So again, full circle, like I met him those years ago, I put him in my show, and then I worked with him, and now he's doing a one-man show and wanted to talk to me. And we haven't actually talked about it, but just the fact that he was like, let's do this.
Yes.
Let's exchange contact and do this. Like, that's a full circle.
Absolutely. I love it. And what I want to do before we find out now about Mr. Tyler Perry. Now, Mr. Tyler Perry is a brilliant, very successful, very rich man doing some amazing things. Now, I don't think the ladies are drooling as much. You know, I mean, you know, Tyler Perry's, you know, bank account, you know, pretty tight, you know, and Shemar Moore's muscles is pretty tight, you know, but whatever. And this show is pretty tight. Lucas Live, make sure you guys continue to share this broadcast, continue to watch, continue to support. If this is your first time watching, make sure you subscribe to Lucas Live Media on Facebook and on YouTube. Check us out. Thank you guys for being here again today. So, Keena, let's talk a little bit about what you offer, though. Before we get too late in the show here, Shemar Moore asked you, could you help me? You have a heart to help people and to provide a service that can help people who are aspiring to live their dream, to produce, to birth something. Let our audience know today more about that.
Yeah, so I coach content creators, actors, storytellers, creatives, however you want to label it. People who do want to, you said it so perfectly that I'm going to steal it and put it on my site. People who just want to produce and birth something that is their dream. And it didn't start as a business, but my personality is I'm a connector by nature. That's just who I am. I connect people. People say I know everybody. They say I'm a resource. I'm a reference. I'm the girl that, like, if I do one thing, I always tell people I'm a referral queen. There's going to be 20 people that's going to come to you after this, right? And so I was producing films with my producing partner, and people would come to me and they would ask me, like, how did you get your movie made? How did you get a distribution deal? How did you get your movie on Netflix? How did you get your, and so, or I want to act. How can I start? And so basically after I would sit at coffee shops with people all the time and meet with them, I finally turned it into a business. And so my company's called Now Go Get It Done. Right. And so people can go to my website and I help people, whether they're writing a script, whether they I've already written it and they just want some guidance, whether they want to go in production, whether they want distribution, they want whatever stage you're in or whatever you are. Some people just want to be coached on acting, whatever that is, right? And I just help people kind of put the pieces together. They may say, I have this and I have this, but I don't know what goes in the middle. Let me show you how to bridge that gap so that everything can flow and you can actually get it done. Because the reality is there's a lot of people that have amazing ideas that we may never see any of it come to light because A, they're like, I don't have time. B, I don't believe in myself. C, I got to take care of my kids or I got to hold my job. And my whole thing is this is going to sound morbid, but I don't want you to go to that grave without
tell them
thing that you should have done and that has given you and placed on your heart to do. Because if not, it's not only a disservice to you, it's a disservice to the world.
Yes. I love it.
It help you get it out and live your absolute best life within your dreams and your passion.
I love it. My wife, Corinne, she said, I went out and shot my short film because of your awesome advice. Keena, I remember my wife was working with you. She was doing virtual sessions. So ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter where you're at. If you're interested in working with Keena, you can reach out to her. Where would they come to connect with you?
They can go to my website, nowgogetitdone.com. And they can also email me at createwithkeena@gmail.com. Createwithkeena@gmail.com. And then again, I'm on all social media, so you can always DM me. I'm at Keena Star everywhere.
Yep. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys need to think about this. Are you willing to invest in yourself? My wife was doing it. I remember her sitting. She had the camera set up. She was talking to her. She was sending her script to Keena. Keena was reading her script and then getting back to her with these advice. And I'm like, she's reading your whole script? Who reads the whole? She read it again? She was like, yes, she's reading it again. And that's a part of the service and a part of the hours that are quoted. And it's a part of the deal in the package. And ladies and gentlemen, I can't tell you, my wife has already shot her first short film. She's going to shoot so many more. You guys know she's an author. My wife is going to be on the show tomorrow morning. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys join us at 8 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning. We're going to be talking love, relationships, and pursuing our dreams tomorrow. But she invested in herself and was willing to do it. Keena, we talk about a lot on this show that a lot of times when people are working with someone like yourself, they are thinking about what it costs them to work with you. They think they're investing in you. Like you're working with Tyler Perry and Shemar Moore, and you can tell them how Shemar Moore smells. You're doing your thing, right? But you're using this as another way to give back and help other people live their dreams.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, it is just... It was kind of like the thing about my gift, right? It's like I have always been a connector of people. I have always been able. I mean, I had people who I met with just for coffee who were like, thank you. I went out, I shot my film, and now I have this. There were people that had shot films who just mentioned to me, and I would call up somebody, and then they were able to get distribution for their movie. Thank you so much. That's just who I am. And so for me, it is more about, do you want to live the kind of life that you want to live, and do you want to see those projects out there, right? I don't know you right now, right? So it's not affecting me. But if you want to get it out there, for me, I'm like, what joy it gives me to help you and be a guide to help you get it out there, because then you're going to flourish. And that just makes the world brighter anyway when you're flourishing and you're happy.
I love it. Helping people birth their dreams is such a big part of the education, motivation, liberation. Teaching people something, motivating them to get it done.com. Get it done. Just get it done. Right now, go get it done.com. Go get it done, and then liberate it to be free. And I love what you talked about from you want to get back to the Keena who was fearless, because what happens is, and I've been saying this, my wife will tell you, my new motto is there are no rules. And my kids are now saying it. I'm like, y'all better sit down. There's plenty of rules, but y'all better quit. But my thought is, I lived my life being so compliant to rules and structures that somebody else made out of their own fear, or somebody else made because somebody else made them stand in line or wait to get in the door or wait to do it. And I'm like, I started this show. I don't know. There wasn't no rules. I got a whole media company. Because I created it. Because I had a social media platform, which we all had free access to. And I'm like, well, then I have a media company. Then I am a brand. Then I can do it. And here I am interviewing someone who's had the level of success you've had. And it is a phenomenal story for me to say that I've had you here on the show. We got to talk to you, though, about Mr. Tyler Perry. Can you tell us, what was this like? You got an audition and you ended up on Tyler Perry's Sistas. Tell us about that journey.
Yeah, it was great. I had never worked with him before. And I got a call from my agent. And if anybody watches the show, I play Leslie Davenport. So I play this lesbian butch, a woman who's completely opposite of myself, right? Um, and they just called me. My agent was like, but here's the deal. They want to change up your look. They want to change up some things because they want you to play this role. And for me, I'm like, I'm an actor. All I want to do is play different characters. I don't want to play Keena. And I think I got the call on a Thursday. By Sunday night. And keep in mind, I had a new baby. My baby was 6 months at the time. So my baby and I flew out on a Sunday night. And by Monday morning, I was in the chair getting my whole makeover done, my wardrobe fitting, everything. My mom and my god aunt came to help me take care of the baby, and my husband was flying in. And then my first day on set, you know, Tyler works in a way not everybody works, right? He works in a very fast pace. He has a lot of episodes, you know. So my very first day on set, you know, it was great because I just wanted to be ready. My whole thing is, let me be ready. I'm not going to mess up. I'm going to be ready and I'm going to do my thing. That's it. And, you know, Tyler, the way he works, you only get 1 or 2 takes, right? You're not doing, so you gotta know. And I walked on set and he just came in and he was very business. He said, hey, you're going to do this. You're going to do this. You're going to do this. He said, hey, nice to meet you. You're going to do this, do this, do this. I was like, okay, we did it. And I got done with my first scene. And then he said, Keena? And I was like, yeah. He was like, that was excellent work. You are incredible. And I was like, thank you so much. He was like, no problem. You are amazing. He was like, that was really wonderful.
Wow.
I said, thank you. And then we moved on to my next scene.
He was like, let's go.
And then I was there for 3 weeks working with him. Great. The girl who's the lead on the show, KJ Smith, she and I already knew each other. So it was wonderful to get there and get her, who we already knew each other but had never worked together. And it was really wonderful. That studio is beyond beautiful. It is
Tyler Perry Studios. We've heard about it. We've seen the news clippings. They say it's special.
It's amazing. It's amazing first to know that it was an old Confederate Army base. So the fact that he bought this old Confederate Army base, this black man owns it, is great. It's huge, obviously.
Yes.
But even more importantly, to know that you're on this set, this black man owns it. Not all of his staff is black, but a very large majority of people are black. So you're working with people that look like you, which doesn't really ever happen.
Right.
And the magnitude of things that he does. We know all the shows and movies he puts out.
Yes.
And to be now a part of his family of shows and movies,
yes.
You know, to actually now be like, I'm a Tyler Perry, you know, actor has been great and amazing. And it was so fun. I mean, every day was a great time. And my husband got to come on set and got to meet Tyler, my baby.
Wow.
And it was really a wonderful time. It was wonderful. That's all I have to say about it. It was really good. We had a great time.
Incredible, incredible, incredible. First of all, that you had a young 3 weeks. How old was your baby?
No, 6 months.
6 months. Okay, 6 months.
Still
breastfeeding. And there's a lot of people who are saying, I can't do this because I have young children. I can't do this because of X, Y, or Z. Help us out. Liberate somebody.
Yeah.
What would you tell somebody who says, I can't do it because I got kids, because I got stuff going on?
I would say that the thing that I always say is, if you really want to do something, you will always make a way. Yeah. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but you will always make a way. And for me, something changed when I became a mom, right? There was a new level
sense of urgency. Okay.
Yeah. As an actor, there was also a deepening for me as an actress, where all of emotions was more raw and open than before. So I was at a different place. Also, it was like, I birthed a baby. If I can birth a baby, woo, I can go do anything else in the world I need to do. I birthed a baby.
A whole human.
Right? A whole human grew in my stomach.
Right.
I can do this.
Right.
And it doesn't mean it wasn't challenging. I mean, I had never flown with my baby by myself. My husband and I had always done it together, you know, and before they were going to get there, you know, it was like, I'm tugging all this stuff. I've got my little baby. He's breastfeeding. You know, I was very nervous because I was like, what if he, you know, we're flying first class with Tyler. So I'm like, I don't want my baby to be crying in first class. And people like, ma'am,
Right.
Listen,
You ain't been in first class. I see. We don't have babies. You like,
exactly. Right.
right?
So, I was there was a lot of emotions. And then like my husband had never been away from the baby. You know what I mean? So the fact that he was going to it was like 3 or 4 days before he was going to first get there. So that was scary. And that was, there was a lot of that.
Yeah.
But the reality is that I was like, well, I prayed for this. So I know God's only going to provide.
Yes.
He's not going to give it to me and be like, okay, now you figured out I'm going to leave you high and dry. You know what I mean?
That's not how it works.
Right. He's going to be like, if you just take another step, I got you.
Yep.
It may be tough, but I got you.
Yep.
You're not going to fail. And we'll make a way.
Yes.
And so for me, I just think we're the only people that can make excuses for ourselves. Yeah. Nobody else can do that. So you can make an excuse if you'd like to, but the reality is that at the end of the day, it's going to be you who's going to be missing out on the life that you wanted to live.
Yes. Somebody is being liberated right now, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't watched this show, our mantra is education, motivation, liberation. If you know a bunch of junk and you can answer Jeopardy questions, I hope you get on Jeopardy, because most of us aren't. But if you know some stuff and you're motivated to do something with what you know, and you feel liberated and set free to go try it, to say there are no rules, there's nothing that can stop me. Why not? Why not me? Why can't I? Why not? Don't stop saying, well, nothing ever works out for me. And I tell people, this is another new thought I have, is that cursing are not those 4-letter words that we think cursing is. Cursing is when I say I can't. Cursing is when I say no one will give me a chance. Cursing is when I say, well, if my life was like Keena's, if I looked like Keena, if this like Keena, if that like, you went on a show and they made you look totally different. So
totally different. And I think the thing too is, there is something that happens, I think, when big moments happen in your life. When I first got married, right after I got married, I did a movie in New York. I did the first, I did the show Atlanta. I did 2 or 3 other shows, like all back to back, right? And I remember people were DMing me. They were like, do you think it's because you're married that now like all this stuff has happened? And I was like, I don't think it's because I'm married. I think there's a level of comfortability and confidence that happens when you've had some kind of big thing happen that I'm empowered now. You know what I mean? Becoming a mother empowered me even more. I think there is something that happened, and I think that you got to ride that wave as it comes, because there's going to be things that are going to come at you no matter what, right? And I know for me, sometimes you want to dim your light for other people to shine because they're comfortable with their light. That. Oh, because they're not comfortable, they want to help you dim yours. Ooh. And one of the things that I've had to really learn and really I preach about a lot is you cannot dim your light for others to shine. You got to let your light shine bright and bring other people into the light. Therefore, they too will shine.
Yes. I love it. So many of us do that. We're dimming our lights because it's easy. And here's the crazy part. It's easy to shine in darkness. It's like, but can you be bright in the light? Can you be bright? And in acting, you have to shine when the lights are on, when everybody around you is talented, when everybody is great. When you got Mr. Tyler Perry, who not only can stand on that side of the camera, if he want to walk over here and play a man or a woman or an old person or a child, he'll do all of it, right?
Right. And I think that, I think that when we ask for something and we want to do it, we get the signs. The reality is are you listening? Ooh. Are you holding on to it, yes. Right? Because you can dismiss it, right? And then that boat can pass. But I think if you're like, okay, for me, after I had my baby, and hopefully this will help somebody, my manager I had been with for the last couple of years dropped me after I had my baby. So I had no representation. And I literally, like the day that I was like, okay, I'm ready to come back to acting. I was like 5 weeks into my baby, 5 or 6 weeks into my baby. I was like, all right, I'm ready to come back. And he was like, we should talk. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. So I got dropped. At that same day that I got dropped, I ended up getting an audition. It wasn't the Tyler Perry, but I got an audition. And that audition was like, for me, I was like, that means I'm still going to work even if I don't have this manager. And so I got that audition. I was on my way to an acting group with some friends. And afterwards they were like, what's going on? I was like, my manager just dropped me. And literally like 4 or 5 of them were like, all right, let me send your stuff to my managers then. And then within like a few weeks, I got a new manager. And then I booked the Tyler Perry show. Wow.
And the old managers standing around missing their cut because they over here playing.
Right. But sometimes you're forced
Yes.
into making a new decision that'll elevate you.
Yes.
And sometimes you get to choose it before you're forced into it, right? I would not have left my manager because I would have felt comfortable.
Yep.
But leaving him, but him dropping me allowed me to get a new manager at the next level, which then allowed me to book the show. And then from there, I've been working and doing multiple things since then.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I have to shout out a few people. Obviously, my wife, Corinne, a creator. Another friend of ours, Shanice, is on here. Shout out to Shanice Cheatham. She's an amazing actress. She's been out to LA and had some opportunity to do some modeling and some things, dipping her toe in the water. She's learning some stuff. A good friend of ours, Destiny Harsh, she recently got a modeling acting contract under a management company. And then her family, she has a beautiful family. They all got a modeling contract. She has these beautiful kids. She looks like this fitness model, and she's had 8, 9 kids or something. It's the craziest.
Get it.
It's crazy. Yes, so shout out to Dan and Destiny Harsh. But one of the things Destiny is also interested in possibly doing voiceover acting. So tell us a little bit about the voiceover acting world to people out there who are curious about that.
Voiceover. I love voiceover so much. So I've been doing voiceover now for about 6 years. And again, this is one of those things where my old commercial agent, I had asked them about getting with them for voiceovers because voiceovers is it used to be, it still is, it's pretty tight knit and just to get in it. And so that agent had said to me, have you ever done anything voiceover wise? I was like, well, not really. She's like, well, you should take some classes. So I took a class. And after the class, I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to start submitting. Well, I ended up submitting to one of the biggest agencies and then got picked up. Again, I didn't realize they were one of the biggest at the time, right? But again, that not knowing was like, and then when but had I known, I probably would have been like, I'm not ready for them. I'm not going to commit. So at any rate, I got with my agent, and then it took me 1.5 years before I booked anything, which for me felt like, whoa. But in the world of voiceover, they were like, it's okay. They, as opposed to an acting audition, they see you audition. I mean, they don't see you audition. For a voiceover audition, you send it to your agent. They listen first before they send, so they know what you're doing. They were like, we hear you. You're doing great. It just takes a minute to get, it's fine. And then the first thing I booked Red Dead Redemption, the video game. And
that's big.
That was big.
That's a big game. That's serious.
And there, video games became my niche. I don't play video games. Didn't know anything about video games really, as far as like the way to do it. But for some reason, that has become my niche. So that's why I've done Fortnite, Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption, World War Z, Star Wars. Like I've done these games. And there may be a little bit of, because I wasn't tainted by knowing, I just kind of bring my actors to it.
I love it.
But there are, but if you want to just start working on voiceover, I will say, like, you can simply use an app on your phone called Twisted Wave that you can get for $100. And although your sound isn't going to be up to this standard, you can at least start getting in your closet with your phone, put your clothes around it.
Tell us, don't say it like we know. What was it? Put your closet clothes, what?
You don't want the sound to be echoey. So what I did before I bought my first mic was I used Twisted Wave on my iPhone. I would rig it up in between my hangers, have all my clothes smushed. Some people put a blanket over their head because it makes the sound sound echoey.
Wow, condenses the sound.
Right. And then I would just talk doing that, using it that way. And then when I booked Red Dead Redemption, my gift to myself was buying myself my first mic. But you can at least start to see how you sound. You can at least start to, what I always encourage people to do, and this is what I was taught, is you should read out loud at least 10 to 20 minutes a day. It helps you figure out your inflection, figure out how to pivot when you're reading a script or reading something, right? Because if you think about a video game, right, it's like, no, you're not going to stop over there. Wait, what? Everything. So you got to know how to pivot, right?
Right.
But also, talking for hours can get your mouth. So I always suggest people read out loud. They start recording themselves so they can get used to hearing themselves.
Yes, got to get comfortable with that.
Right? And then there are some of these like smaller sites like voices123.com, I think, where they're not union work, but you're just starting out. You can audition for stuff and, you can get paid to do it. And then once you kind of work your way up, then you can start looking for an agent. And at least that way you're actually auditioning for jobs. So you're practicing, and then you might even book some jobs.
So cool. Fascinating. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you have teenage children, boys and girls, but I know the boys, like my son, he's on Fortnite, and you think he was in a real war, and you think he was trying to kill his friends. Okay, so it's a real thing. The kids are playing it. Most of us know it. The Spider-Man video game, and these others. It's amazing that you had that opportunity. And to think you booked your first one with your phone in your closet with some hangers. Y'all gonna have to rewind this episode and share it with somebody and say, you got to hear this story about how she got started in something that some people are aspiring to do. Again, somebody's like, I can't afford a studio. I can't get to where she's at. I can't right now with coronavirus. And I don't want to take up too much of your time. We're right at the top of the hour with coronavirus. Help us understand, how have you been able to continue to work, if at all? What have you been able to do, and how have you maximized this moment?
Yes, honey, let me tell you, I feel like I've been staying so busy and working so much since COVID, right? And I think that's one a mindset that work always is going to keep coming, right? Lord, please keep providing, and yes, but two, voiceover has been a savior, because the one thing that didn't shut down was voiceover, because I had to upgrade my studio. It's not a studio. I had to upgrade my stuff in my closet and get some things from my laptop or whatever so that I could record jobs at home. But that has been a savior, because that didn't slow down. That actually increased even more, because it was going to happen. And then people have gotten creative, and I think that's the beautiful thing. I was supposed to be in New York before COVID hit, doing a show with the Billie Holiday Theater. And obviously COVID hit, I couldn't go, but we did it virtually live on Zoom, and it was amazing. We had thousands upon thousands, like 16,000 people or something. It was like crazy. And then that got me other jobs. People saw me on that, and that got me other jobs doing Zoom shows. And so I've stayed busy doing that. I've been coaching. I'm still choreographing. I was choreographing for a show for a while. So I was still doing that up until 2 weeks ago. So I'm writing and I'm creating stuff and spending a lot of time with my husband and my son, and remembering that if on a day I feel crappy, that's okay too, because there's a lot going on in the world.
Yes.
But then living in gratitude at the same time, because there's also so many beautiful things also happening. And there's a purging that's happening right now that I think is going to make everything better. It's probably going to be different, but I think it's going to be that next level that's going to be wonderful.
I love it. Keena, you have been phenomenal, as I said before. My team and I have had the opportunity of talking to you, reaching out to you, texting you, emailing you. And one thing that we said was we were asking each other, like, was she the nicest person you've ever talked? Yeah, but she was so, did she act like she was your sister? I thought she was my sister. I didn't know. You were so easy to work with, so nice, so down to earth. And I said this to you the other day. I said, you've accomplished far more than some of our other guests. And no shade to any of them. Everybody's on their journey, right? And some of them will be where you are today someday. But you have been so unbelievably easy to work with, so kind. Even when things didn't go right on our end, you never made us feel like, get your stuff together. What are you guys doing? If you want me on your show, then you better get your life together and have your people call my people. Just before we go, just tell the people, why is that a part of who you are? Why is that important to you? Why all the love and kindness?
That comes from my parents. People are so drawn to my parents, and they are such helpers. And sometimes I'm amazed. I'm like, I don't know how you guys are helping all these people. Yeah. And that just means they're just supportive and encouraging. And especially my dad never meets a stranger. He's the person that, like, he comes here and then the whole grocery store knows my dad. And I'm like, Dad, I've been going to this grocery store for 5 years. Right. I don't know people. He's like, oh, you don't know Ralph at the meet? Ralph's great. I'm like, yeah. And so I feel like that's how I am. And also, I just have a genuine love for people and connecting with people and figuring out who people are, because the beauty of life is connection and community. And
absolutely.
And gosh, we don't do it by ourselves. Even when we think we do, we never do anything by ourselves. Right? And the beauty of people's stories and who they are and how we uplift and work together, to me, is everything. So
I love it.
I'm never about just like, calm on people. I'm like, I get it. We all human. We all starting. We all doing something. Let's do it. Let's do it together.
Let's do it together. I love it. Keena, one more time. Somebody out there watching, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching this live, or you're watching by replay. You've heard the free advice that she gave. She gave you a great insight. If you want to do voiceover acting, if you want to get into acting, dancing, whatever it is, producing, birthing the thing that is inside of you, the thing God put inside of you to produce or to birth or to bring to life. She can help you do. She's a midwife of sorts. Can help you birth that thing and bring it to life. I don't know. I hear the Lord saying she's a midwife out here. She's helping people give birth wherever you are. You ain't got to be in the hospital. You can do it from home. You can do it from LA, Chicago, or your house. As a midwife, tell them one more time how they can get a hold of you, and again, a few of the services that you could offer to someone watching right now.
You can DM me at Keena Star, like on Instagram or Twitter. I'm Keena, Keena Star everywhere. My website is nowgogetitdone.com. So just remember, I better now go get it done. That's our website.
That's it.
If you want to email me, it's createwithkeena@gmail.com. And the thing that I'll just say is I help creatives in no matter what stage they're in. And if you're questioning about investing in yourself, the thing that my favorite quote of all times is, you don't have to be great to get started, but you do have to get started to be great.
Woo! Don't have to wait to get started, but you don't
have to be great to get started. You do have to get started to be great.
Whew.
So if you want to get started, then.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so glad that I was able to bring to you the wonderful, lovely Miss Keena Ferguson. You've been a phenomenal, amazing guest. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've watched this broadcast and enjoyed it on any platform, there's still time. Please share. And please, if you're interested in working with her, reach out to her today. Keena, you've been wonderful. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, thank you for everybody tuning in.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys have a wonderful evening. I see you guys, Keena Star on IG and Twitter. Make sure you guys check her out. I see you guys. Put some love, put some hearts in the comments. Hit those hearts, hit that love, hit those likes. Share. Let more people know somebody out there needs someone like Keena to help them bring to life the things that they've been thinking about. They want to shine. You want to shine not only in the darkness, you want to be able to shine in the light. She's going to help you step out from inside the closet with your phone to making it happen and bringing your vision to life. It was such a pleasure. I see you guys. I wanted to end the show, but I see all the love in the comments. I wanted to give you guys a second to say thank you. It's so important. I know it matters to her. I know she values it. I know she appreciates it. I can tell Keena, we've met your parents because we've met you. They must be phenomenal people.
They are.
They must be. Thank you so much, everybody. You guys, we'll see you guys again tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. My wife, Corinne Marie, and I will be live in studio. She'll be sitting right here with me, and we're going to have a great talk about love, relationships, entanglements, and all the things you want to know. How to prepare for a marriage and not just prepare for a wedding. Can't wait to see you guys tomorrow morning.